So today we'll talk about a company I'm seriously considering buying. Its name is Heartbeam and it is listed on the Nasdaq, ticker BEAT. Okay? Now, before we begin, as always, nothing in this video is investment advice, okay? Besides, I'm still not long yet. I'm still deciding whether to buy or not the stock. But in any case, in today's video, we will cover this new investment thesis. First, we'll go through this company's numbers, and then we will cover its story. So with that said, let's take a brief look at Heartbeam's financials. So as you can see here, Heartbeam's enterprise value currently stands at roughly $50 million. Now, what are you taking home for that amount? Well, basically, you are buying a company with no revenues, as you can see here, right? So keep that in mind, okay? Heartbeam is still a pre-revenue company, and on top of that, this company, as you can see here, is also operating at a loss, which obviously is not something healthy, right? But as we see here, over the last 12 months, Heartbeam posted an operating loss of roughly $20 million, which is about half of its market cap. So this certainly doesn't seem like a good business, right? I mean, this company, Heartbeam, is bleeding. Now, in terms of cash flow, the picture is pretty much the same. As you can see, Heartbeam is burning cash, and over the past 12 months, its operating cash flow stands at negative $15 million. And lastly, on top of that, Heartbeam has a net cash position of only $2 million. So, tough situation, right? They don't have any debt, at least. However, this company is clearly facing some financial problems. After all, if on one hand they are operating at a loss and burning cash, on the other, the company also doesn't have a lot of fuel to continue its journey. So, in other words, this company seems a little bit screwed. Now, if that's the case, why on earth am I considering buying this company? Well, because I think they have developed a massive product. So now that we've already taken a look at Heartbeam's numbers, let's now talk about its story, about what this company does, etc. Which, by the way, in my opinion, is actually the most important part for us investors. So to understand what Heartbeam really does, let's imagine the following scenario. So let's imagine you have heart problems, okay? So for instance, you are afraid of having a heart attack. The problem is that a lot of people confuse the symptoms. For example, sometimes you might just have gas and think it is something related to your heart. And the opposite also happens. Sometimes people feel some discomfort that they think is nothing serious, when actually it is the beginning of a heart attack. So the question is, wouldn't it be great if you could test yourself and know right away whether what you are feeling requires medical attention or not? In other words, wouldn't it be great to be able to check and know almost immediately whether you should go to the hospital or not? Again, that would be amazing. So that's exactly what Heartbeam offers. You see, Heartbeam has developed a device that is the size of a credit card, capable of monitoring your heart with the accuracy of a 12-lead ECG. And by the way, ECG stands for electrocardiogram. Okay? Now, what's a 12-lead ECG? A 12-lead ECG is like the gold standard for assessing heart activity. The problem is that this kind of device, first, is not simple to use, and usually you can only have access to it in a hospital. However, this company, Heartbeam, managed to create a small portable device. As I mentioned, this device is the size of a credit card, but as I was saying, Heartbeam managed to create a portable device with no cables that is equivalent to one of these hospital-grade machines. And that's something incredible. And before anyone says this is a lie and that their technology doesn't work, just for you guys to know that Heartbeam's technology has already been approved by the FDA. The device was approved in 2024, but Heartbeam software was also approved by the FDA at the end of 2025. That's why the stock skyrocketed. So yeah, this thing is for real. Now, think about it. The technology is now approved and the company is going to the commercial phase. And by the way, we'll talk about the company's go-to-market plan in a future video, okay? But I'm not going to cover that subject today. In any case, of course, Heartbeam cannot succeed at that, at the commercial phase. However, on the other hand, this company could also deliver. Now think about how massive this product could be. Really, who wouldn't want a device like this? I mean, I'm 32 and I would like to have a Heartbeam's device. Now, how much does this device cost? Well, as you can see here, Heartbeam's device will probably cost between $500 and $1,000 per year. Now, honestly, I don't think that's expensive, especially considering that this device could literally be the difference between life and death. Now, one key thing to understand here is that Heartbeam operates as a recurring revenue business. And I simply love that. They don't just sell the device as a one-time purchase. They sell a subscription, and the device comes with it. So at the end of the day, this company is actually selling software. So in other words, basically, Heartbeam is a SaaS company, and I believe this business has the potential to become something really special. I mean, the business model is excellent, the product itself, right, the device, is excellent as well. It is unique, it is patented, and it also solves a major problem, right? It really solves a major problem. Now, on the other hand, there are risks. And of course, I'm fully aware that there's still a long road ahead before the company starts generating meaningful revenue and eventually becomes profitable. That's even more distant, right? I know all that. And I also know, for instance, that their balance sheet is also very tight and that they will likely need to raise more capital, probably through dilution. With that said, this is how I look at Heartbeam, at this stock, as an investment. As we've seen, the company has an enterprise value of around $50 million. Now let's assume they need to raise more capital and the number of shares outstanding doubles, okay? To make things easier, let's just pretend that Heartbeam's enterprise value stands at $100 million instead, okay? Let's make things easier. Now, in my opinion, this device is something really special, and I think that it wouldn't be an exaggeration to use the word revolutionary. My question is, could this technology be worth, for instance, $500 million? Well, frankly, I believe it could. So even if I end up paying $100 million for Heartbeam, I don't think this would be a bad deal. However, let's recall that Heartbeam's enterprise value stands not at 100 million, but at around 50 million. In any case, at this point, I'm still deciding whether to buy the stock or not. I'm still studying the company and trying to get in touch with them. With that said, I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing. So if this stock drops another, let's say 20 to 30%, I might simply start building a position. Now, to close this video, I want to talk about two more things. So first, we are talking about an 18% insider ownership here in Heartbeam. So we are talking about a considerable insider ownership, though it certainly could be better. In any case, I think it's fair to say that the people in control of Heartbeam have a strong incentive to make this company work. Lastly, it's also important to make it clear that currently Heartbeam's technology doesn't tell you, using AI for example, that you are having a heart attack, okay? It doesn't tell you that. Today, at the current stage, Heartbeam's regulatory approval is only for arrhythmia detection. In other words, what we officially have today is a technology that detects arrhythmias as accurately as top hospital-grade equipment. With that said, from what I understood, Heartbeam is actively working toward reaching the point where they can detect heart attacks as well. And if that happens, that's simply going to be massive. Now, if Heartbeam doesn't detect heart attacks, then how does it work, right? So here's how it works. Let's say you've just felt some discomfort in your chest. Okay, so you will take Heartbeam's device, place it on your chest, and record your heartbeats. Then, this recording will be sent for evaluation. First, your data will be evaluated by an AI. And if your case is more serious, then your data will be sent to real physicians, who are available 24/7 for clinical review. In fact, that's exactly what this press release here is about. Here we can see that Heartbeam has partnered with HeartNexus, a company specialized in telecardiology and remote diagnostic services. So these are the guys who will interpret your heart data, though in the long run, this is expected to be handled purely by AI. So this was the last thing I wanted to cover. Heartbeam doesn't detect heart attacks yet, okay? And it is also not yet fully driven by AI. With that said, that's it for today, and see you next time.